Good evening. This evening I'd like to talk about COVID-19, SARS-2. It is the Homo sapien problem of the moment that is truly Homo sapien. It's the world. And Homo sapiens, human beings, have to be at their absolute best to fight this. The best scientists, the best doctors, and the best health officials and politicians who actually support for the general good of the population, of the whole world, and also individual leaders in individual countries. If we are not at our best, and we have divisions, and we have people who are interested in their own economic gain or their own interests, it is going to make things infinitely more difficult. And I think actually disastrous in given countries and for humanity, if that is part of what's happening. And so far, I'm afraid to say, that has very much been the case in my country, the U.S. Political division has slowed down and really thwarted the pure scientific and medical efforts to stem this virus. In contrast, there are very small countries that might be considered developing countries in the world, like Jamaica and like El Salvador, where people have been unified. There have been enlightened politicians, brilliant public health officials, best doctors, and very low rates of COVID. Human beings can actually affect this very greatly. It's a huge part of the calculus of how much damage is done by the virus. No matter what, there is going to be some. In fact, it may be very bad, but it can go from bad to catastrophic to cataclysmic to it could destroy societies, of course. So the human response, people have to be at their absolute best and have the best interests of all human beings in order to fight this. They have to be on their A game, if I may say. It's slang, but on their absolute A game. Anything less than that, any division, any other motivations, and this itself will teach humanity a rather chilling lesson, I'm sorry to say. But the virus will exploit all that and go right through those divisions, and we will have infinitely more deaths and infinitely more serious hospitalizations and infinitely more people who actually have long-term effects, and that's one of the things that is not talked about enough. The virus has only been around for 6 months. There are people already who are getting what look to be long-term consequences, maybe even for the rest of their life. And not just elderly people, and not just people with health conditions, elderly and or with underlying health conditions. There are younger people. It's exceptional, but it's happening, where their kidneys get damaged, where they get blood clots. It goes through your lungs. It's a severe respiratory illness. That's the delivery. But it can attack any system in the body. And my goodness, we have to do our absolute best with people thinking about humanity. Because it truly is the Homo sapien versus the virus. And hopefully it makes people unified. That could be a beautiful thing that comes out of this very tragic, potentially cataclysmic event. It could actually make people more unified in their own countries and unified with one another in different countries and hopefully in all countries. Maybe that will be the future. I hope for the best. And God bless. God bless El Salvador, God bless the U.S., God bless the world.